friends, welcome. We are here because today is officially it. It's officially the last day in our summer gardening season. And so we've got lots of picking to do, lots of preserving to do, and we're gonna bring you along for the ride. Tonight is our first freeze of the season. It's a couple weeks early, usually it's around November 1st, but we are gonna get everything out of the garden. We've got tons of tomatoes, tons of peppers, tons of okra, and we wanna get everything out and make sure that we get to save every little ounce. We'll still garden a little bit. We have a fall garden going and we have some cool weather crops and we'll still do a little bit of gardening, but as for our big, massive summer garden, today's the day. I have my helpers, Taylor and Makayla, with me, and they are gonna help me pick all day, and we're gonna get it done. All right, girls, are you ready?
Yep. Yes.
All right. The mission today is that everything in the garden gets picked. Got it? We've got some okra, we've got tomatoes, we've got peppers. Be sure you look in all the places. We've even got some sweet potatoes that we need to dig up, I think. So let's get started. You ready?
Yep. Look at these.
Oh, wow, that's a bunch of tomatoes. Yeah.
We got tiny ones there.
We're gonna have enough for Chow-Chow, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Oh, looky there, she's got a sweet potato.
Potato. Mommy, look!
What? Oh, look.
Little bitty sunflower.
The little bitty sunflower's still there. Look. We got some full-size eggplants. Look at these. Look. Ah! The one's not quite big, but looky here. Ah! Only our little mini ones have been making up till now. Awesome. Oh, here's some more. These are the frog fingers.
Look at all these tomatoes, Mommy. Hey, Mommy.
What?
Look at all these.
Ooh.
We have a little bitty cantaloupe in there.
Oh, looky how cute. I love it. What are you picking over there, T? Peppers.
I was over there picking hot peppers a second ago.
Be careful with those.
Yeah.
Peppers, and more peppers.
Pickled peppers.
All right, most of this I'm gonna preserve tomorrow, but I wanted to go ahead and get a few things going tonight. The basil, we're gonna stick in the dehydrator, and that is super simple. We're just gonna pull the leaves off, lay it out on the dehydrator trays, and then we'll put it in there for probably about 24 hours. We'll check, and when the leaves are nice and dry and crisp, then we'll pull it out. All right, we're gonna go put these into the dehydrator now. The other thing I'm gonna get started tonight is I have all of these green tomatoes that didn't quite get ripe and we had to pick them before the frost. So we are gonna make my dad's favorite, Chow-Chow, and his birthday is in a couple weeks, so I have a birthday present for him. It's always really hard for me to pick the green tomatoes early in the season because you know, you want them to grow and flourish and turn into real tomatoes, but at the end of the season, it's a great time because, well, they're wasted if you don't go ahead and pick them. So this is a great time to make Chow-Chow. I will put this recipe, this is my grandmother's recipe, and I will put this in the comments below. But tonight we're gonna put about 8 pounds of green tomatoes, about 8 bell peppers, 8 onions, a stalk of celery, and then tomorrow we'll add in some hot peppers and some pickles, some sour pickles and vinegar, and we'll finish it off. But it needs to set overnight and drip and drain. So we're gonna go ahead and get that started today. And basically, you know, the ratio of this is however many pounds of green tomatoes you have, you want that many in number of bell peppers and that many in number of onions. That's just a good rule of thumb. And then a stalk of celery. You can cut back on your celery if you want, but that's just easy. And then we just stick these in our food processor and we're gonna puree them pretty good. All right, we have all that blended up, and if you ever watched Nickelodeon and the show Double Dare, that's it looks like that slime. But that's okay. Once we get some more ingredients in it and we drain it and all of those things, it's gonna start looking like actual Chow-Chow relish. What we're gonna do, the reason I wanted to go ahead and get this started is because it does need to drip and drain overnight. So I'm gonna take a strainer and I just have some cheesecloth in there and we're just gonna put it in here and let it drip into this big bowl in the fridge overnight. Okay, so school is out today and we are processing the rest of our stuff this evening. So Taylor is gonna be processing the okra. Walk us through what we're doing with that.
So we've got to chop up the okra and then dip them in cornmeal and then in a mixture of eggs and milk and then back in the cornmeal and then line them up single file on these so we can flash freeze them.
Yeah, and then we're gonna pull them out and seal them up, right? And then we can pull them out and fry them later. Now, when we harvested the okra, there were some that were ready to go ahead and pull seeds out. So I wanted to use an example and show y'all what it looks like when you get seeds out of the okra. So if you'll notice, see, this is a fresh okra, and then this is one that's ready for the seeds to come out. When it peels back a little bit right here, and then it's way easy. You can hear, well, I don't know if you can hear here. This one you can hear better. That means the seeds are dry and ready to come out. And all you do is you pop that open and there are those seeds. And you pull those out and they're ready to plant. While Taylor works on our okra, I'm gonna deal with some of our peppers. The first thing I'm gonna do is to make some homemade Tabasco sauce. This is also gonna be for my dad for his birthday. Shh, I really hope he doesn't watch this video. He normally doesn't, so we'll keep it on the down low. Okay, but I grew all these Tabasco peppers and I've already de-stemmed them, and we're just gonna make a really super simple Tabasco sauce. I'm gonna put the peppers in a little saucepan and I'm gonna put a cup of vinegar and about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then I'm gonna put this over on the stove, set it to boiling, and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. Then I think the next thing is gonna be to deal with our zucchini.
Can I help?
Ah, she's done with school. Yeah, you can do the zucchini if you want.
Okay.
Since we have a bake sale on Saturday, we're just gonna go ahead and shred all the zucchini so that Makayla can make, what are you gonna make?
Zucchini muffins.
Zucchini muffins. All right, let's go get them. All right, so I guess while Taylor's doing okra, Makayla is going to be shredding our zucchini.
We have 4 baby zucchinis. Then we have this one that's weird. And I chopped both sides of it off. We have a long one that looks like a melon, but it's not. And then some more odd shaped ones. We're just gonna cut these and so that they can fit in the grinder easily.
And then we just put, and this grinder is a KitchenAid attachment.
Yep.
So super easy.
We just want to cut them about this big.
And I guess while they're doing that, I'm gonna go check on the basil. And our basil is all done nice and dry and crispy. So I'm gonna go ahead and crumple that up and put it into a jar while they're working. Look at our nice basil. My Tabasco peppers just rang. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the food processor. And we're gonna run those real fast. All right, I'm gonna add just a little bit more vinegar to get the consistency just like I want it. All right, now I will warn you, do not stick your face right in this. It is very potent. So I just have one of these little strainers and I'm gonna pour it into the strainer and let it drip through to the jar. And that'll take a minute while they're working.
Okay, so we just finished shredding up all of our zucchini and it filled up the bowl.
Yummy.
We're gonna make a lot of muffins with this.
So why don't you put saran wrap over it?
Yep.
And then we can put it in the fridge until tomorrow.
Yep. And if you're wondering the recipe for zucchini muffins, I have a whole video on that. You can watch it right here.
All right, here we are. This is our very own homemade Tabasco sauce from our peppers that we planted in the garden. So we're just gonna seal this up. And I'm not even gonna bother canning it because it's gonna be gone before we need to can it. We need to use it anyway. This, like I said, is gonna be a gift for my dad and he will be so excited. So go in the fridge and then give it to my dad.
So I'm gonna make Cowboy Candy. So this is a great way to use up your jalapeno peppers. But you do want gloves when you're doing this because it's got a bunch of pepper in it. So we're gonna start out by just chopping up our jalapenos and I'm just gonna cut them up into 1/4-inch rounds. So we're just gonna put everything in this bowl right here. Down in the comments, tell me your favorite way to use peppers. Okay, so we've cut up all our jalapeno peppers. And now we are going to combine 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar in this pot. I'm gonna put 1/2 cup of water. 1.5 cups of sugar. 2 small bay leaves. And 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we're also going to mix it up a little bit before we start boiling it. We'll put the exact recipe in the description down below. Okay, so we mixed this up a little bit and now we're gonna bring this to a boil on high heat. Okay, so we just realized that the peppers don't go in till later, so if you're following along, sorry. So just get the peppers out. Okay, so we got the peppers out. Sorry about that. We're going to bring this to a boil on high heat. And then once it starts boiling, we are going to immediately dump the peppers in and turn off the high heat and let it set for 15 minutes. Okay, so our things have been setting for 15 minutes. So now we're gonna take a slotted spoon and get the peppers out and pour them into a little jar. Whew. It's peppery. And now we're just gonna pour the rest of the syrup until the top. And we're gonna put the lid on. And this can just live in the fridge. And we have ourselves some Cowboy Candy.
All right, now to finish the Chow-Chow. Our green tomato mix has kind of dripped out overnight and it's nice and dry consistency. So I'm gonna put that in a pot. I'm gonna add to it 4.5 cups of vinegar, 2 teaspoons of ground mustard, 1 cup of water, 4¼ cup of sugar, and then I'm gonna chop up really finely 8 sour pickles and about 5 hot peppers, and you can adjust the hot peppers based on how you like the mixture in there. All right, all those are chopped up. The only thing left to do for the Chow-Chow is we're gonna give it a good stir, and then we'll put it on the stove and set it to boil for about 10 minutes. After it boils, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in jars, and then we'll water bath can it, and it only needs to water bath can for 10 minutes, and then it'll be ready to go. And while the Chow-Chow cooks, we're gonna finish up over here. So we put the birdhouse gourds out in the garage on a shelf so they can dry and cure, so we can do something with those. We've shelled our beans. We've washed our sweet potatoes so that they can sit in the fridge, and they'll last in the fridge for a couple months if they stay nice and dry. And I went ahead and put the ripe tomatoes in the freezer so I can make salsa or sauce with them later. But the only thing that we have left to deal with are these delicious peppers, and I just have a random hodgepodge assortment of peppers left. I have some hot and some sweet and all different kinds because it's whatever was left on our plants. So what I'm going to do is to make several jars of pickled peppers, and these will be a delicious garnish for roasts or barbecue or whatever we want to use them for. So to make our pickled peppers, first we want to make a brine. I'm going to use 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of water, a teaspoon of sugar, and then 2 teaspoons of canning salt. And the only difference between canning salt and regular salt is that it's pure, no additives, no iodine, and it's really fine grade. You can substitute any salt will do. Now, I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and while this is boiling, I will fill my jars with peppers. This is a super simple way to use up the rest of your peppers. All we're going to do is take our clean jars. We're gonna chop up our different peppers. It can be a hot pepper, it can be a sweet pepper. You can mix them together depending on what you like. And we are just gonna fill our jars. And because some of the peppers that I'm cutting are gonna be hot peppers, I'm gonna go ahead and put on my glove because I definitely don't want to get hot pepper juice rubbed anywhere. And the size is up to you. I kind of like some beefy peppers, and then if you want them cut down, you can cut them down later. And you're just gonna pack this jar. All right, and I want to fill it pretty well to the top. I'm going to leave 1/4 of an inch of headspace for these, and then on the very tippy top, I'm just going to put a clove of garlic to add a little bit of flavor. Once I pull the brine off the stove, I'll fill these jars up with brine. So let's finish chopping up our peppers. All right, my brine is ready to go. Now, one thing I didn't mention, this is hot brine. Make sure you're heating your jars at least a little because you don't want to put hot liquid into a cold jar. That's a recipe for jars cracking. So I'm going to fill this up with brine up till 1/4 inch mark. Headspace is the distance between the top of the jar and the canning liquid. So we want 1/4 inch of headspace. I'm going to take my wet cloth and I make sure there's nothing on the top of that jar, the rim of that jar, because I don't want anything to come in the way of the seal. And then I'm going to take the canning lids and tighten them finger tight and just a little twist more. And now they're ready to go in the canner. These will process for 10 minutes. I'm going to process them with my Chow-Chow because it's also 10 minutes. So we'll have one big batch. And I just heard the Chow-Chow timer ding, so let's go ahead and can that up. All right, now to jar up the Chow-Chow. Same thing with this. You want to make sure your jars are warm because you don't want to put hot liquid in a cold jar. And vice versa, if you're putting cold things in a jar, you don't want to use a hot jar. Always the same temperature. And just like with the peppers, we're going to clean the top rim off so we make sure we get a really good seal. Tighten the jars finger tight and a little more. All right, now we are ready for the canner. All right, my canner's got water in it. I'm gonna go ahead and put some vinegar in it because we have really hard water. And putting a dash of vinegar helps the jars not to become calcified while they're in there. So I'm gonna put these jars in my canner. And then I want to make sure they're covered up with 1/2 inch to 1 inch of water. Then I'm going to set the canner on the stove, and once it starts boiling, I'll set the timer for 10 minutes. And it's after 10 minutes I can take these off. Now before I take them out, I'm going to let them set for 10 to 15 minutes just to cool down with the lid off. And that helps with what we call siphoning so that things don't come up out of the jars. All right. I'll see you back here when we are done canning our projects. Our Chow-Chow is ready to come out, and we've got our pickled peppers ready to go. And that is the official end of our summer gardening season. It's kind of bittersweet. It'll be nice to have a break from the preserving, but it's always fun to be outside working in the garden. Girls, what was your favorite thing we grew in the garden this year?
Probably the Kachari melons.
Oh, the Kachari melons were delicious.
Either the birdhouse gourds or ground cherries.
Oh yeah, you loved those ground cherries. And the birdhouse gourds, I can't wait to get those painted, and those are gonna be fun.
Those were my favorite veggies, but I think my favorite thing might have been the flowers.
Yeah, that's true. You had a whole flower garden. We're so thankful that you've been joining along with us this gardening season. We've got lots more content coming up, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing on our little homestead. Thanks for joining us.